All right, all right. Hey, hi guys, welcome back. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on into a collective message. By the way, I was finally able to re-release the video for the 4th, the today's topic video for the 4th. Sorry, whatever's going on with YouTube lately, there's glitches all over the place, and it makes my videos sometimes have to process for a really long time. I've also been informed that you guys, some of you no longer can see the subscribe button. So I don't know what's going on with that. But there's probably updates and things going on behind the scenes. So anytime these things occur, we just kind of got to ride it out until things get settled, because it's usually, platform updates and things like that they're working on. Oftentimes after I see stuff like this, the new features will suddenly pop up. So it's usually when there's updates. So just hang tight if you're seeing, weird things in the chat, or if you can't find the subscribe button or something, just hang tight, because my understanding is it's not just my channel, it's kind of widespread but spotty. So anyway, we'll get through it. But so we start out with the 6 of Pentacles. We have a High Priestess. We have the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Hi, Paris Jade Humphrey. Nice to see you, babe. The biggest message here from the universe is, I'm going to say, listen to the intuition, because we have got possibly, this is going to be the story of a High Priestess. So possibly a Virgo, a Cancer, or a Pisces as our lead. This could be masculine or a feminine, bear in mind. But what's flanking the High Priestess is, I know somebody wants to give to me. I also know there's some kind of very jealous and even selfish or angry, maybe even seething with jealousy, kind of karmic on the other side of this. Okay, so that could be possibly a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius feminine that has some kind of real irritation, and it seems to be, it's about whomever wants to give. And this could be something as simple as someone's given a compliment to another person and that incensed somebody else who's like, why don't I get the compliments? It could be something as simple as that. We have 8 of Cups. Here's the interesting part. Our High Priestess seems to be very sovereign, very much like, not my circus, not my monkeys. I'm off here doing my own thing, especially during this full moon. I'm not even involved in this madness. I'm not with all you all. I'm off here doing my own thing. So although I'm aware that there's maybe somebody doing something or thinking something about me, and that's making somebody else jealous, but I have nothing to do with this. I didn't invite this. I didn't create this. That's the way it comes across to me. And yet she still is aware that she may be, I feel like a High Priestess, her ears are burning. I feel like she is aware that somehow she is a major focus, although she's not even present. Tell me about the 6 of Pentacles. Hanged Man, 5 of Swords. Okay, so this has been a long time coming. This is, okay, so somebody is engaging in either revealing how they feel about the High Priestess, explaining, I'm going to be, attempting after all this time, I need to tell you, I care about the High Priestess. This seems like a masculine is telling another masculine, here's the thing, I actually care about this High Priestess. I haven't ever said anything, but that's how it is. And I know it's going to open up a big old kettle of fish. I know there's going to be pushback, fighting, arguing. It's like the High Priestess is the person that now everybody is talking about, everybody's buzzing about, everybody's even pissed about, and yet the High Priestess has nothing to do with this. She's kind of like the focal point without being even present at the party. Let's see the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, 6 of Cups. Queen of Swords is definitely saying, but this is my turf. What do you mean they think that the High Priestess is their 6 of Cups? They want to go back to their 6 of Cups. They want to have a new beginning. Oh, okay. So King of Swords sideways. Well, let's just say it this way. She may have every right to be a bit bent out of shape if this is coming as a surprise to her. Well, I thought we were a King and Queen of Swords. Now come to find out, you want to have a new beginning with your supposed soulmate. So who have you been toward me? Look, I don't know if there was a big deceptive game, or I don't know if she's telling herself a whopper of a lie. Maybe she's always been in a karmic energy. Maybe she does have the attitude issue, or maybe the attitude issue comes because she feels lied to. Two things can be true at the same time. Also, she has a right to be pissed if she was lied to, but she might also have been in a karmic energy to begin with. So, I just don't want to paint her as some straight up villain, because she's finding this out right now as well, that you want a new beginning with your Six of Cups, but you were a King of Swords all this time, or you were only halfways in this with me because you actually felt like you were meant to be with someone else. Then why'd you waste my good time? I just think it's fair for her to have a right to for that Queen of Swords to not just be dubbed the villain in this story. We have a Nine of Pentacles and we have a Ten of Cups. Honestly, it looks like she has some pretty righteous pissed offness, because it's like, you could have gone at any time. I could have moved on and found somebody else who made me happy, or been happier alone than somebody eating up my good time. You know what? I'm going to right now say, kind of leaning more toward that, understanding that Queen of Swords perspective, because we can say, yeah, but she's in the reverse. Well, yeah, she's upset, but nothing here looks like she's saying, but I just want to hold on to you. I command you. I control you. She's like, you could have gone at any time. Let me be happy solo and find something else. But instead, you wasted my time. I could see that would be frustrating for her, and rightly so. So hang on, Queen of Swords, what's your deal? Because I'd be like, don't waste another second, kick him to the curb and move on. Four of Pentacles, she's like, yeah, but see, now I'm going to get the money. Oh gosh. What's that song? Because if he mess up, you got to hit him up. Hey, ladies, if your man wants to get buck wild, just go up and hit him up style. It's something about, like, basically in that song, she finds out her man's cheating, so she goes out, she runs up all the credit cards. It's a song. I'm not saying that is a good idea ever, 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 ever. I am not talking about being vindictive. It's just that's a song that is popping up because of this card right now. So it feels as if she is going to say, you took my time, so it's going to cost you. I want the money for my time. With that Eight of Wands, she's like, oh no, be gone. Go fast and far, be gone. But just know, you don't take the car, you don't take the money, you don't take the house, you don't take anything that we shared. That's all mine. But you're free. You have your freedom. But see, you took my time. So that's worth everything that, all the monetary stuff. That's what you owe me for my time that you wasted. But you can go. I think she's not trying to fight to hold on to anybody. She wants him gone. You just can't take maybe even like a leather jacket. It's like, you can leave that here too, because I can, hawk that at the pawn shop. Like, that's how this comes across. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying those are the cards we got. Please remember, I'm a fictional storyteller. Here's the Moon. You know what? There's a whole nother layer to this. That Moon card, that subconscious, secretive energy, I am not sure that she doesn't have her own secrets, because we got two individuals here. Did this just free her up? See, she's pissed, but she's also very swift in, like, I want this over immediately. I want you gone. But now it says she got her own secret. Does she have somebody that she's like, now I'm free to run to somebody else? She might be about to make out like a bandit here, because if she's saying, I'll keep everything, but you get your freedom, but now it also frees me up. Wow, Chariot and the Star. She has some other life plan that she is immediately going to be pursuing. And it's something she really wants. I don't know if it's a person, or maybe she's like, oh my God, I can sell this house, take that money, and I can, move to Costa Rica. I can go someplace else. I've wanted to change my life for a long time. Now I'm free of this. I got the money to go. She looks pretty damn excited. So we went from pissed off to thrilled to be free. This storyline is very much about swift change and even more swift, like emotional, like there was anger, and then it's just, I'm already done with the mad, and I'm just thrilled that I get to change my life. I don't see this as a storyline where there's actually going to be that much conflict all said and done. Now, let's go back over to, because we still haven't even talked about the high priestess, and we haven't really talked about this. It feels like we have a masculine making this decree, expressing like, I actually, for a long time, I've been in love with this high priestess. So it feels like big, communication here. So let's take a look at, as you were saying this and you're expecting big fighting, we have Six of Pentacles sideways, we have Queen of Pentacles upright. So he, I think, is expecting there to be like some kind of like equitable, like we'll split resources in half, because Six of Pentacles is like what we built together, but then, we'll separate it out, and then I'll go toward, because I'm guessing this could be the high priestess, right? High priestess can be Virgo vibe. We've got, a Queen of Pentacles who doesn't know anything about this. We keep seeing her completely unaware, but he's thinking he's going to be separating. He doesn't know what's going on with the Queen of Pentacles, but he's pretty sure he could perhaps build something or grow something with the Queen of Pentacles. So as he's making this decree, he has this idea in his mind of how it's going to go. The Hermit upright, and then that Three of Swords sideways. I do still think that some of his intentions toward the high priestess have to be still kind of occluded a little bit. He's explaining some things but while still keeping some things murky, some things in the clouds, because he's going to act like, but I'm really just going to go solo for a period of time. I need to separate. I have been in love with somebody else. There was somebody else on my mind, but I need to separate, and I just need to sort myself out. I feel like that's what he's going to say to whomever, the family, whomever he's explaining this to. But he wants to show a certain amount of like, it's disappointing that, we're just wrong for each other. There is somebody else that I cared about, but I just need to be single and walk alone for a while. Like for a period of time, his plan is to look suitably, like this is sorrowful to separate. And she's still up in the clouds, like hidden away in his thought bubble, like, but I'm really going to be going to that high priestess at some point. I think, are you lying about this? Are you doing this to be like visibly, suitably, like I'm not just bouncing and then running to somebody else? Yeah, we have a 10 of Cups. I do think he wants to, I mean, if we can say it this way, like pay homage to like whatever life story he had with a previous partner. So we know they were married, right? Because they were a king and a queen of swords, although she was in the reverse and he was sideways. I kind of think they sucked together. I think maybe they always sucked together, but maybe they had a child. The child looks grown now. So maybe this is like, but he wants to say like, we did have good times, and, still this is like in our rear view mirror, it's like, I won't regret, what we built together, the life we had together. That was a whole segment of my life that, I did cherish, but it is something that, I wouldn't undo. I'm glad that we had what we had, but it is, something in the past now. So it's time to move on. So he is trying to handle this. And honestly, this could be sincere. This doesn't look like he's lying. It looks like that is real as well. Obviously something good came of this. We had a child together. We had some kind of happiness together. I don't regret that. It still feels like, let me just ask, are you going to understand that Queen of Swords is like, she's ready to cut you loose like instantly? Queen of Swords upright. Yeah. And on top of that, he's also saying, yes, and she's going to be a lot happier without me. It's as if he's known for a very long time, like she's actually wonderful, but I didn't make her happy and she didn't make me happy. I don't actually think that there's any lies in this. You know what? I think this is just one of those difficult but realistic storylines, even though, of course, this is fictional, where honestly, two good people can suck together. But then they have these things that, cobble them together and hold them together like family. And then it also becomes like, when do we admit that we're not actually happy? We're not good together. Neither one of us is wicked or evil. There's We could be happier elsewhere. He has in fact fallen in love with somebody else, whether he meant to or not. She actually seems like she can't wait to be free of him now that it's finally going to be broached. But the big problem here is, how do you broach that subject, right? When is it a good time to sit down and have this heart to heart? And maybe this isn't the best way to have handled it. But at some point it has to be said, and it's never going to be easy. This really doesn't look like a storyline where people are trying to be villains, but is there ever any easy way to handle this entire topic? Because he actually says, no, I'm not painting her as any kind of a villain. I actually think she could be happy without me. I feel like I think she's actually not wanted to be with me for a long time. That wasn't missed on me. I wasn't oblivious to that. Hanged Man and Ace of Cups in the reverse. And he's also saying, and I can't blame her. The truth of it is, we haven't been in love. Maybe they were never in love. She knows it. I know it. That's how it was. It actually feels like it's such this is the more mature and honest thing to be able to say, it was never us. We built a whole life together, but it wasn't based with, like, oh, you're the love of my life. I think he's saying she always knew that, and I always knew that. But we stayed together for a really long time without any love. That is not any mystery. Queen of Swords, did you love him? Knight of Wands, no. In fact, she may have someone else that she's had on the side that he's completely unaware of. It almost feels like there's no reason for either person to be upset, honestly. That Knight of Wands, I said, were you in love with him? That's not even a little bit of love. She might have thought he was hot at one point in time, but now it's like, but keep the hat on, keep the mask on, because honestly, I'm dreaming of somebody else. I don't think that there is any love lost here. And it would behoove both of them to end things amicably, because they're full of crap if they want to start to be mad at each other and be like, oh, but you're mean to me. No, neither one of these people wanted to be together in this storyline. Now, it did say that she's saying you can go, but I'm keeping everything. So let me just go back over to the Queen of Swords for just a minute and say, Queen of Swords, are you fully releasing this and just saying, yeah, but I keep stuff and you can go? Is this to, throw the last jab or what? Queen of Swords, King of Wands. Honestly, again, she's so freaking happy. She's already thinking about somebody else. I don't know who the Knight of Wands was, but I think he just came front and center as a full-blown King of Wands. There is somebody else she very much wants to be with. Really what this is now, I don't even know if she's saying like, you wasted my time, I'm going to keep all the money. That might have been a bit of an act, perhaps. But in fact, she's got something else. A Four of Pentacles can be what she's keeping to herself as well. And we saw the Moon. The secret is she's got somebody else she can't wait to go move to be with, live with, go travel to see. I think she's thinking she's going to have a little pocket change to live whatever life she wants. And she's already got somebody else ready in the wings. 10 of Wands, 6 of Wands in the reverse. And she says, and I don't feel bad about it. Because you know what? This has been something that drained me, us being together when we really shouldn't have stayed. I don't know. Why didn't you leave him then? I got to ask that, Queen of Swords. If this wasn't a love match for the two of you, it's a little hypocritical to be like, now I get to say, oh, I'm mad at you. You're leaving, when in fact, you wanted him gone a long time ago. You wanted to move on. You got somebody else on your mind. Why didn't you leave? She says 4 of Cups. That 4 of Cups could be, I don't know. Remember, she was a Queen of Swords in the reverse. She might have said, I still felt like I was done wrong and I wanted him to feel bad. Maybe she waited on purpose, waited him out. I want him to be the one to go. him to be the one who, like dismantles the connection. But you didn't care if he goes, but you wanted him to feel bad. Seven of Wands. Yeah. So she does blame something on him and say, you made a mess, you clean it up. I'll stick around as long as needs to be until you actually do the thing that you should, which is here's my argument with this though. Again, Queen of Swords may have a leg to stand on, saying like, I'm not going to be the one who leaves and has some amicable 50-50 split. Somewhere in this, I think, she does blame him and say he owes me more of an apology. He should be the one who has to, apologize and do the heavy lifting of, filing and all that. And the demise of the connection is going to be on his shoulders, not on mine. Only argument with that is she's also punishing herself if she waited for him to exit, because basically she kept herself unfree all this time, waiting for him to finally walk away. It does feel like I'm going to punish him, but in doing so, it does seem like you punished yourself too. So in that respect, it does feel like there was some Queen of Swords in the reverse attitude. Why ever punish your own self at the same time? I mean, that's why vengeance is never a good idea. Vengeance hurts you too. It's a sour energy, and it eats up time in your own life that you could have been pursuing something beautiful that you wanted. It always behooves you to let stuff go and move on and claim your freedom, instead of going for, I'll play the long game and I'll wait this out. And in this storyline, remember, this is what they chose to do. Again, I'm not condemning our character. It seems like she did the way she wanted to do things, though. Is she genuinely sad about this? No, not at all. And in fact, he actually seems to say, no, I know that she will be happier without me. I do know that. This is a tough situation, but I don't think it's as nasty or messy as what it could be. Honestly, I think the sticking around and sticking it out for a prolonged amount of time, that's where things were unpleasant. This is actually where things are starting to move, and maybe that unpleasantness is dissipating. Now that there is separation happening, now things are actually getting like back on track and like healthier choices and, better energy. And so it actually feels like things are getting a lot better in this storyline, even though it took time. So at this point, let's take a peek and say, so characters are, this is a full blown, like, we're separating, it's been made official. That's what this storyline is. High Priestess, why are you picking up on the vibes today? Let's go back to you. And the High Priestess is definitely the Queen of Pentacles, because here she is again. But with this Eight of Swords, I say, why is she picking up on the vibes? You can't ask really a High Priestess that, because she can pick up on things anyway. She doesn't even mean to. It's just what her gift is. This has all played out for a very long time. We see tears have turned into full-on diamonds. We see her, hair has become root mass and occluded her face and grown into her nose and mouth. This is a long time. This whole thing has solidified and calcified. And this is actually something that I think she slammed the gate on and said, that's not going to be a path for me anyway. And yet it might pop back up into her mind. She might be thinking perhaps of him. We have a 10 of Pentacles. So weird, because it's like she can already sense like thoughts are flying into her head right now. And it's weird because I feel like she's in like a strange, I don't know if she's going to be strangely emotional right now. And also, like, she looks over it, doesn't she? She just looks done. And yet a Queen of Pentacles is upright, meaning she's doing really great in her own life, but it feels like she's either drained or just over something. And then that flips back into her mind, but with like a memory of once upon a time, I thought it could have been something, but what am I doing? Of course not. Remember, that was in the past. That door got slammed shut and that gate locked long ago. And God, I'm so overthinking about this. even though I'm not having a bad day, I'm not having bad energy, when that comes to my mind, I'm kind of like, oh God, could it please just like drift on away again? She's basically confused by this. Remember, she was already up in the clouds when he was saying, I'm not going to admit that, you know, the Queen of Pentacles is somebody I need to go talk to, and that I'm going to be talking to her. I'm not going to say that to anybody else. And now here those clouds again, twice actually. So there is something about the clouds. I don't know if it's cloudy skies wherever this high priestess actually is. But she's kind of just telling herself, I don't really want to deal with this thought process anymore. Can I please just not? Can it just be something that I heal from and I don't have to keep remembering? Temperance. Yeah, she's got kind of like a ferocious desire to have things be calm, which I know it sounds like a contradiction. Like I angrily want things to be smooth, you know, but it's more like she's kind of trying to claim her peace and not have unwanted thoughts pop into her head. And it's like, I'm living a good life. I really want to just protect my peace. I really don't need to think about this. So, yes, I am ferociously protecting my calm. I'm a little annoyed that this popped into my head. I definitely feel like she's tired today. With that Eight of Wands, she's literally, you know, like bed rotting or something. She's all blanketed up, hiding out. And we'll say the memory of him, like this, she's sleeping in the paws of this lion that is like looming up above her and actually cradling her. So it's really that his thoughts are like kind of creating like I don't know, like a canopy, if you will, around her. And because she is a high priestess, she can't help but sense it. You know, it's not her fault that she can feel when someone's thoughts are blanketing her. You know, that's just how it is. So, okay. We have Page of Pentacles and we have the Ace of Pentacles. As she just kind of like says, I'm going to either take a nap. That's going to be the action I'm going to take, which is funny because, you know, normally an Eight of Wands is I'm going to take action. She's like, my action is pull the blankies over my head, take a night-night. I'm going to go night-night. And then when I wake up, those thoughts are going to be gone. And I am going to carry on like once and for all. That's not allowed back in my thoughts. And I think she's swaddling herself up, taking her night-night time, taking her nap, and going to wake up and feel free of this freaking thought process, this memory. I want to actually not think of it again. I mean, I really do feel like she's a bit fed up. I feel like she's a bit over it. Why did these thoughts, these memories of him intrude when it was already so long ago? And I just don't want to think about it anymore. I definitely don't want to be, you know, emotionally impacted by something that is in my past. So she's determined. I mean, like really hell-bent that this is not going to be, after I take my nap, I'm not going to think about this anymore. Hang on. Let's change decks. Universe. What happens next? We get the blank card. All right. So blank card is one where it's two people mirroring. It's shared energy for me anyway. This card I shouldn't even leave in the deck. It's not intended to be there. I leave it because it means something to me. Lots of times I'll decide to leave a title card in that doesn't belong and I shouldn't leave it in, but I get to do whatever I want. It's my deck. It's my brain. It's however my brain decides that it needs to be able to have that as an option in the storytelling prop. So we have an Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. We have the Page of Swords. I said what happens next, and the universe is like, what happens next is the thing that I actually, bizarrely here, I'm thinking that this is the two feminines, okay? I'm thinking this is the Queen of Swords mirroring the energy of the Queen of Pentacles, and both of them are like, screw this. I don't want to think about him anymore. I'm not putting in an ounce of energy. Look, we've got sword and we got pentacle, which that would be our high priestess pentacle energy and our queen of swords, right? And it's so weird because I feel like both of them are saying, I'm not interested in thinking about this anymore. I want to think about the next chapter of my life. I want to go investigate other things in my life. And I almost think both of these feminines are basically just over this drama, which is, I haven't had a storyline like this before. I think maybe they're fed up with, secrets and long drawn out whatevers. And it's like, can we just freaking move on in life? So they've got that mindset. What about for him, universe? The Justice card, and it's really interesting. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to make him be some big villain. And please bear in mind, this could have always been same-sex couples. Could be 3 feminines, 3 masculines. Could be complete reverse, where he is actually a her, and these are 2 dudes, not 2 women. But for him, he's having perhaps some karma, because holding out on either side, it's like, okay, wait a second, I didn't maybe handle things the best with the Queen of Swords. I also didn't handle things the best with how I felt about the Queen of Pentacles. And really central to all of it is that maybe I didn't handle things right for myself either. Maybe I did myself wrong, and in doing so, I also did 2 different people wrong. Maybe it was me who should have made a decision at some point. Look, we could say the same thing about that Queen of Swords. She had all the power to walk away and go get with somebody else, and probably should have, instead of stayed and been miserable and been like, I want to punish him. I mean, look, there's a lot that we could say about, all characters and why they choose what they chose. But this is not to shame characters. This is just to ask, like, what's next? And it feels like he's taking on, he could be a Libra, by the way. He was a King of Swords, and now we see him with that Justice card. He's kind of standing there getting some karma. 4 of Cups. And it may be the regret that, did I just F everything up? Have I wasted so damn much time? 9 of Swords. Have I actually, because right now he does not know. Remember, the Queen of Swords is hiding the truth, which is she's got some King of Wands that she can't wait to get jiggy with. He might be standing there saying, oh my God, I hurt the Queen of Swords. I hurt the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like I really shouldn't have ever handled stuff this way. King of Wands, though, hang on. Do you have a small inkling in the back of your mind that she's got somebody else? 2 of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, Lovers. He's going to find out pretty quickly that, if anything, he's the chump here. And maybe that is the karmic justice coming in. Maybe he just now finds out, maybe he's like, oh my God, I heard the Queen of Swords. I feel awful. And then I don't know if someone is going to tell him, or maybe even the King of Wands is going to reach out and be like, hey, I hope we don't have any bad blood, And he's like, excuse me, what? Because this is, the King of Wands has no clothes on all of a sudden, like he's revealing something. Look, this could be a big plot twist shocker where that King of Swords gets a man-to-man phone call from his now ex-wife's new lover. And it's like, hey man, I know you 2 are separating, and I'm sure by now that, she's moving in with me. Like, we've, no hard feelings, but, obviously I'm sure, we've been, we already started something. This looks like, no, it's going to be a real, like, jaw drop moment with that Justice card. Sometimes that's when we kind of get our just desserts, because this says with the 2 of Pentacles, he's like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. All this time she's been in love with somebody else. She had some other lover on the side. Meanwhile, I'm sticking around, but I'm in love with somebody else. So I'm screwing over the Queen of Pentacles that I love, but thinking that I, kind of have to stick around for a Queen of Swords who I know will be happier without me anyway. But all the while, she's got somebody else cooking on the side. I think this is going to be a big revelation to him. And this could be like, I'm the fool who cut my own self out of a happiness that I could have already pursued. And instead, I basically screwed everybody. I do feel like he's going to feel like a chump in this one. And maybe it's because, look, our actions have consequences. He might be trying to reassure himself and say, I mean, look, I stayed for, our kiddo, because the pages can be children. I stayed so that our child could have like a stable home with parents that are busy cheating and lying. I mean, I guess that still is stable. I don't know. Look, I don't know what's better or worse. But it is what it is, right? These are the choices that they made. He might be trying to say, well, that's the one consolation, is that I guess the only person that didn't like get cheated or lied to was, we made sure that our kiddo had things in life. The Magician, even that though, he's a snake oil salesman here, because it says he's here selling the miracle elixir, but I think he's a snake oil salesman to himself, trying to like maybe feel like less of a chump, or trying to like minimize the realization that all this was this big drama that never needed to play out. All this was just a big drama. She and I, if we had just been honest with each other, we could have shaken hands and parted ways, co-parented separately. Long ago, she could have already been living with that King of Wands she wanted. I could have been with my High Priestess, Queen of Pentacles, and it could have worked out better. But let me instead say, hey, at least, we did it for the kid. But I think that's hard even for him to tell himself that. He knows better. The Magician can be a trickster, and normally a magician upright, I wouldn't read that way, other than he is literally selling the magical elixir. So we know it's bullcrap, and he knows it too. It's just the story he's got to cling to, which is not good. And I would say it's not good because if you're going to keep telling yourself yet another fantasy story, you're never really going to make change unless you can acknowledge, like, maybe this was all effed up and I could have done it different and I should have done it different. Maybe I should have just not played it out this way. Maybe in the future I won't play it out this way. I'll do it better. I'll do it different. Queen of Swords. What is this? I don't know that the two of them are even going to be on speaking terms anymore, because she got her sword up. Two of Wands. Oh, she might want to say, so how's it going with you and the person you're leaving me for? She might actually say something like that. I could see her just saying, like, no, I don't have anything to talk to you about other than, how's it working? You got a place to land? You going to go run to that High Priestess? She may bring that up, like, I know, right? Knight of Swords. It could be embarrassing because, in fact, I don't think he's reached out to the High Priestess yet. I don't think he knows if he has a soft landing place. I think that is his next, like, port of call, so to speak. But there's an embarrassment. You see, somebody's like, oh my God, she knows. Are you going toward that High Priestess? Because the High Priestess, from what we saw, she kind of said, I don't want to think about this anymore. King of Swords upright. There he is again. But I feel like he's going to be blocked because we have the Fool sideways. He may now hesitate going toward that High Priestess, that Queen of Pentacles. So you did all this to then... Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm rolling my eyes. We got Empress upright. What does that mean? Queen of Wands. Let me go back. Fool card sideways is what? Seven of Swords. He might have it like in his brain that his plan to then, finally go toward the Queen of Pentacles. And remember, we had the Hanged Man that came out twice. So we know it's been a long freaking time. He may feel like an absolute fool now that he's like finally pulled the plug and he's finally going to move toward the High Priestess. But then it's like he pauses and says, you know how foolish this is? Because I'm going to have to tell her that maybe I haven't been, truthful, or, she maybe thinks I'm just a liar at this point. What am I going to do? I don't know. Maybe he's thinking maybe I'll meet somebody else instead. What's the Empress? That could be mother figure that he's trying to go talk to somebody for advice. You need to figure your own shit out. You're a King of Swords upright. Figure out what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then follow through. I'm sorry. That's just me being bossy mouthy over here. But you can't call yourself a King of Swords upright and then be like, oh, finally did this. But now I think she's going to think I'm a liar. And maybe I don't understand what that Empress and Queen of Wands message is. High Priestess in the reverse. Okay, so finally we're getting to, he's going to have to tell her absolutely everything. He's going to have to make sure that she knows the full story. And the full story, I don't get what the Queen of Wands is unless that's his grown child. Because remember, he may have had a child that was the Page of Wands. It could be like, I had to wait. I stayed married until my child was out of the house. I had to wait till my child had moved out because she is gone now. I could see that as an adult child. And if that's I mean, again, he is saying, I lived a lie for all this time, stayed where it wasn't right. It was never right to stay, but I stayed until the adult child was moved out. And now that that's happened, High Priestess, if you'll have me, I'm yours. So he's not asking somebody else for help. He just feels foolish that this is what he's going to have to go and tell the High Priestess. Why is the moon sideways? Is it just because he's like, it sucks because there's a part where no matter how the High Priestess interprets this, she's still going to say that I lived a duplicitous life and she's not going to want me. That might be where he's at now. He's already, like, it's sinking in that she's going to say, I was duplicitous all this time. I lived a whole false life, staying with someone for supposedly the right reason. But why would she want me back? She won't want me. And even if she can understand why I did it, there will always be a part of her where she'll think that I'm not a trustworthy person. We have the Seven of Swords, which is lies. And now we have the moon that's sideways, which minimizes the lies, but still says, but I know that you can live for years, a second life, a hidden life. You can love me, but be with somebody else. So how would I ever know if I could trust you? I'm going to be with you. And then how about if you find somebody else that you're in love with, but you eat up years of my life until you leave me for them? I'm not interested. Like, I feel like that's what he's rationalizing now in his head. I feel like he's feeling like he's going to come out a loser, because why did you live this way instead of authentically? I think now this could be him, just looking at himself in this light and contemplating it and saying that comes across as somebody that is untrustworthy. Any way I slice it, I can see that. And I know this is how she'll look at me. And yet I want to be her King of Pentacles. But she's not going to believe me, because what does my track record look like? I lived a duplicitous life with somebody else while wanting to be with her all this time. And now, even if the truth of it is I always wanted to be with her, I don't know that she'll have me. Eight of Swords, even if I know she wants me or still would want me, she might not feel safe with me, or won't let herself get into something with me because it'll drive her nuts, not trusting me. She'll never feel comfortable with me. So maybe what we already could have had is already too tarnished. Yeah. Here's the thing. The only person who can decide anything is the individual, right? He certainly has made his, bed, right? He made the choices that he made. That's all said and done. But the High Priestess will decide for herself. So I guess our only question here is, High Priestess, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Knight of Coins, Wheel of Fortune, Ace of Coins. So High Priestess says, well, I always think about things. And I also think carefully about, remember we saw her like, God, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And we saw her face look just kind of like deadpan. Guys, will you give this video a thumbs up if you're here watching? If I don't get more positive interaction on videos, it hurts the channel. So I see that there's like 250 of you in here, but only 100 thumbs up, but it really does help. So if you guys don't mind, give it a thumbs up if you're here watching. It's the only way that my free content can continue to be produced. So if it's entertaining, if you like popping by, please do help support the channel in that simple free way, because it does make a big difference. I just thought I would mention it. I forget to say thank you enough for that, but I got to start remembering, because it does determine whether or not I'll have a channel anymore. So it matters more than what you guys would ever guess. So thank you so much for that. This looks like she's already saying, like, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of done. This isn't really something that I want to have to deal with anymore. So I want a fresh start. If this whole situation, I don't know that she's going to say, let me just block out the past and we'll just try this all over again. But I will say, if she does want to try it all over again with them, she might have to literally start from that cleanest slate. Now, you know, we've already said, like, oh, was he too duplicitous? That was him saying all that about himself. She may or may not. Remember, a high priestess has a great capacity to comprehend situations and the complexities of things. She may not be looking at him in that light. He's actually being a much more harsh judge of himself, because he's finding out he was a chump that could have and should have parted ways. Maybe it wasn't the best thing to do to stick around for the kiddo when, you know, the person he was married to wished she was with somebody other than him also. And it's like, oh my God, the mess I've made, you know. He's going through his own karma because of his own realizations that there was a lot of wasted time where he could have made better choices, right? But when we get to the high priestess is not actually judging him so harsh. The high priestess is like, oh, did you come to the conclusion? Did you have the clarity? Did you get to the point of, like, now I understand? And I honestly, like, it's tough when you have soulmates. There's more than one soulmate out there. You have more than one journey, more than one lesson. Sometimes you have to complete a lesson before you're going to move on into the next lesson anyway. And this almost feels like she's looking at it as it was a costly lesson for you to complete. But you made the choices that you thought were the best at the time for your child, even if in retrospect, that's not what you would do again. Sometimes you don't know how you could have done things better until you've already done them, quote unquote, wrong, you know? So with that in mind, I definitely can see how she would be changing, or not changing, but how she would be able to say, look, I'm sick and tired of thinking about the stuck energy, but if you're actually free, then our story would begin here. She doesn't seem to be harboring any like, how dare you didn't pick me when you should have. She's just like, life goes the way it has to go for the lessons to be learned. She doesn't feel like some side dish or some other person. So, and we never saw what the context was. You know, we know that he was in love with her. And obviously it must be that she with him, because she was sad over this. But it might have been one of those things where it's like, wow, I met somebody who's great, but, you know, he's already married. Nothing I can do about it. I know in another lifetime we could have been together, but that's not how it is unless something in his life changes. And while, you know, it's hard to let go of that feeling, because it's like, man, it's rare that you meet somebody that you're just so sure that you could be really good with, but damn it, you met them at a time where they're already taken. Maybe that's more the scenario, which is why it's not like, well, you were having an affair with me and then you went back to your wife. Like, we didn't see that storyline here. So we don't know what their context was, but it definitely is a context in which the high priestess is not accusing him of, like, you know, you were running game with me, keeping me your secret side dish. We didn't see that. She doesn't look at herself that way. She doesn't look at the situation this way. Emperor, if anything, she's saying, here's the thing. If you are available and your intention is to be an emperor to me, there is no other blockage. If you are certain about what you want, if you are certain about what you want to offer me, and that's something I'd like to receive, then this is our chance to explore that and see if we work. See if this is going to be something that works for us. So hopefully he has not talked himself into like this guilt-ridden kind of like self-loathing, my God, can you believe the mistakes I've made kind of mentality, and convinced himself that the high priestess won't have anything to do with me because look at the errors I've made. Look at the time I've cost myself. In now hindsight, I should have handled everything oh so differently. And I'm sure the high priestess won't have me. You don't get to pick what the high priestess is going to do. You have to let her pick. So I hope that he doesn't, he may be approaching her kind of feeling like there's nothing good is going to come out of this, but I still have to like tell her the whole storyline. I still have to let her know, even though I'm positive she won't want anything to do with me. He may be very, very stunned to discover that she has a completely different spin on it. His regrets are his. The high priestess, I'm guessing, although she was tired of like remembering him if there's no future for the two of them, the high priestess, I think, has probably gone on to have a very good life. I don't think that her life was put on pause just because it's like, well, I met somebody that I could see myself with, but she did have a heartbreak over this, though. But I don't think that her life stopped. No, she possibly became even more of a high priestess with that like meditative energy and the Four of Cups. It's a disappointment. It's, one of those things where it's like, man, it really sucks. But I guess learning how to let go of things, if it's not meant to be, you can't grasp it. You have to learn how to love in a different way. You meet somebody, you love them, you think they could love you too, but circumstances are such that that's not possible. And it seems like, oh, cruel fate, why'd you let me even meet him at all then? And it's maybe she had other things that she also needed to do, and she maybe had to come to a place of peace about that. High priestess, you had another like life purpose, haven't you? Knight of Cups, Empress, hell yeah, she has. And Ten of Wands. I don't know who this high priestess became, but she is rocking it. She became a full-blown empress. She may have done amazing things in her life. She may have pursued things that were important. She may have had like divine life purpose plans. She may have started a business that was important. She may have had other things that she herself had to accomplish in this time that he has not been around. And at this point, he too had like kind of karma to clear. That entire scenario, the choices that he made, which he now feels like a fool for having made, like those were things he had to do also. I almost think that's why she's in this mindset where she's like, sometimes you can't see why the life, that you want to have, you can't have at the moment that you want it. But as you continue to live and you continue to grow and you continue to learn, that's when you start to realize, oh, I had all these other things I also had to do, I had to accomplish. That's just how it had to be. And the more you like embrace that, the more you wind up getting to that, I don't know, like a sense of peace inside yourself. You understand other people have to make their mistakes or clear their karma. You have things you have to grow and build. And then you can reconvene at a later date. So there's no point in carrying bitterness and being like, oh, but because it didn't happen soon enough, F you, because you couldn't let go of that other life sooner because you felt obligated for your child, F you. Now we're not ever going to be together. She's not that kind. That's one of the big things that this high priestess learned is never carry bitterness, and definitely never, cut off your nose to spite your face. Why would you ever decide then? I mean, unless somebody was like a total scoundrel and a liar and abuser, then never take them back, of course. But we didn't actually see that in this story. This story is different, and we have to consider, like, look, I would have read it differently if we had had terrible, terrible cards of someone being an ogre, but we actually never had that. We had characters that maybe didn't always choose the best path for themselves authentically, but on the other hand, maybe that was what they had to learn, so maybe that's why it went that way. All I can say is I know there's a lot of water under the bridge for this storyline, but in this story, it also says that water under the bridge doesn't mean that there's not still a bridge there. It just means time passed. This is still a very possible, not just possible, this is like their time to be together. And so this is more one of those stories where it's like, even though I don't know that she ever knew that it would ever come to pass, it is like our day will come. It didn't seem like it was going to, and she kind of had to make peace with the fact that, well, he's not mine, so I need to move on with my life and do other things. And man, I wish I could kind of forget him on one hand, so that I could move on, love somebody else. She also, this high priestess might be at a time in her life where she's actually really ready for a long-term commitment now, and this could also be the perfect time for her. Like, maybe that's the other like serendipitous thing, is that he's ready to be in her life. He found his courage to finally break away from a connection that was wrong for him. He also stayed as he thought he should to, whatever, raise his child, get his child launched into life. And now he feels like he can move forward, only to discover like this was the wrong reason to have stayed. And yet everybody's in the right place now, is what it seems like, ironically. Perfectionist Virgo, thank you so much. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. I know that was one of those epic popcorn munchers, and I'm sure you guys were chucking handfuls of popcorn like, no. I always say that I get into these stories like, I'm watching to see what are the characters going to do next, and I'm like, you hear me like mouthing off at the characters as if I'm watching a movie, even though I happen to be the storyteller. But I don't know what's coming in these stories. It's as like I'm watching a movie for the first time too. So I'm like cheering or ranting or whatever, because I'm right there with you guys, watching the storyline play out and trying to understand the characters. And this one, I think, took us on quite the journey, but I kind of did understand it at the end. And I actually do think that these two could be amazing together. And maybe this is just the way the storyline had to go. All right, you guys, lots of love. It's me, Victoria. Good to see you, babe. Hi, awkwardly knit. Hi. Sorry, no, awkwardly lit. Love your name. Silver Linings, great to catch you. Ash Keller, hi, babe. Rebel, Mrs. Hermit, my pleasure. Thank you guys for being here. Tribes to go. Hey, Rhonda. Butterfly Catnip, CDW. Thank you, guys. Really nice to see everybody. Mystical Glow Reiki, Blondenbert. All right, I'm going to bounce out of here in just a minute, and we'll get to some of the zodiacs. I still have 3 left over from yesterday, and we'll do a couple of additional ones. I had intended to do so many more today, and I'm not going to lie, like I've been struggling with my lungs the last couple days, and it's not that I'm coughing so much as long as I rest and go quiet for periods of time, but it gets exhausting to breathe when my asthma flares. And so I had a lung issue, an injury as a kid. And so on my best day, I have almost like the capacity of only one lung worth. So to then have asthma as I've aged, it gets really strenuous sometimes to breathe. So the more I talk, sometimes it'll throw me into like a little flare. And then as long as I rest and don't talk, I do pretty good and I recover. But I will say it's amazing how much like energy drain it is sometimes. So I think I'm good. And then I'm like, I just don't have energy. And then my energy comes back if I rest a bit. So anyway, sorry that it's like that sometimes, but I'm good. It's just, I feel like I get annoyed because I'm like, I want to do my stories. It's my weekend. And then I still kind of had to like lay low a bit. So anyway, but now I'm revved up and ready to go. Joanne Roberts, great to see you. Love some Steph. Nice to see you. Hi, sweetie. Selene. Hi, babe. Lion Queen. MJ the Capricorn. Ash Keller. Thank you, everybody. Carrie Reed's in the house. Hi, Annette Summersby. All right, guys. Annie S., nice to see you. All right, guys. Her Spiral Path, wonderful to catch you. Hi, Hamida. Lots of love to you. Chart 2, Moonbeam Wendy, Chalita in Chicago, Summer Morgan. Thanks, everybody. All right, I'll see you guys again in just a bit. It's Allie online. Hi, babe. Bye, guys.